Hello everybody and welcome to our free Fleurs Flower class that we've started, which is our second one of our monthly editions. Now in this one I've got a super code for you, so all of you that don't already have this, or maybe you're buying it as a gift for somebody else, we're working with the all day everyday collection. Now in there was the all day everyday flower and leaf, there was the poppy, the centres and the fringes. Okay, so there's quite a lot in there, and we have a super code for you. So our new code for this one is all day 50, so you're getting 50% off that first. And this was the collection that we did for the festival. So when we did our very first festival, I designed these dies, these particular ones, to work, and we made our festival flowers. So that's why we've brought it in. We've just finished our Christmas festival. I know a lot of us are probably thinking ahead to warmer days already. But these are just beautiful dies that make incredible flowers. Now, the code is available for a month. So it finishes on the 15th of January at midnight. But this is what we're going to be making with that all day, everyday flower. Okay, that die set, which is just beautiful. So even though we made something that was quite a generic flower, this one is more along the lines of maybe a peony. But look at this, and then this one, let me bring them both in. Look, aren't they just incredible? Okay, so that's the kind of flower that we're going to make, but I'm actually completing a whole project this time. And again, will you let us know whether this is the kind of thing that you'd like to do moving forward, or would you like just concentrating on making different flowers? But I think building an entire project and having something to finish is a really nice way of using and actually doing more inspiration. So comment below if that's what you're after. And if you do want the die set, the link is in the description. So this is what the die set looks like that we're using now. Okay, so these are the leaves, and then you have 3 nested sets. Now to make the big flower that I've done here, I'm going to call it a peony because it's very close to being what a peony is, are these 3 here. So it's this big one, second one, and the third one to actually create this beautiful flower. And then I've used the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 to do the leaves. Okay, so let's go. This is where I've already cut out all of my elements. I've got myself a square piece of crepe paper, and I've already cut all my pieces out, but I'll go through all of that a little by little. I've got my hot glue gun on, and I've got my wires. So first of all, when you're doing this, you need to wrap your wire. Okay, and I'm using, for this particular flower, the 3 centimetre polystyrene balls. Again, drop onto highlightcrafts.com. You're going to find all of these accessories on there under the fleurs, I believe. So we've got the 3 centimetre ball. We've got our lovely paper wrapped wire stems as well. And I'm working with that beautiful cream crepe paper. Okay, now the crepe paper in cream, I do know that it comes in 3 all the same color. Okay, so that's just so you can actually see what I'm actually using, the tools. So first of all, I'm going to snip my wire to about 10 centimeters, like so. I've got my paper and I've got my center, so we're building the center of this beautiful bloom. Now hot glue. Now, I always put the hot glue, and I say this in all my classes, so for those of you that have been to festivals, all of those that have been to festivals, you know that I always put the glue as a ball on the end of the wire, okay? So hot glue on the end of the wire, okay? And then hold the ball to the surface and push that wire in like so. And the reason we do it that way round is, and that little blob, it doesn't matter about that, that'll come away, is because if you put hot glue onto your polystyrene ball, it starts to melt straight away. By putting the glue onto the end of the wire, when we put that wire inside, it actually does melt the polystyrene ball, but it makes it easier to slide that wire into the ball, okay? And by doing it that way round, the wire takes the glue into the polystyrene ball, so it's a lot firmer grip. That is solid, okay, now, so that's not going anywhere. I know when I start working with that, it's not actually going to pop off, which is not what we want. So then moving on to actually wrapping, I've got my trusty Pinflair bookbinding glue, and I'm going to put some glue around the edge. And I'm not going too mad, but I am putting enough on. If I've got gaps, I'm not particularly bothered, as you can see. It's not all fluent. And then in the middle, we do want some glue across the centre, okay? But again, you can see I'm not coating this fully, okay? I'm not bothered that it's all in little bits and pieces, okay? We're not looking that we're wallpapering or anything like that. It's just a little bit of glue. Pop the ball in the middle, and then we're going to fold the crepe up around it. And this is called wrapping, okay? So we're wrapping this crepe ball. Bring in the sides on both sides, like so. And then we bring all of this down, all neat and tidy, tuck it all in. And we're bringing it all to the wire, like so. So that's one side. And then again, folding in, making these nice tucks, gathering it all in, and bringing it all to the wire, okay? Once we've done that gathering like that, we can now smooth that down, but be careful. Don't stretch the crepe too much because you may split, okay? So you don't want that to happen. When you've actually done that, what you're going to do is we've gathered it all into the bottom, and we're going to do this little twist and a pinch, okay? So I'm going to smooth all those edges in like so, and I'm twisting and I'm pinching, releasing, pinch, release as I'm twisting round. I'm not holding it and just going like that, okay? I'm actually pinching and twisting, because if you do that and twist, you're going to rip all your crepe and it all comes apart. So you don't want to do that. So that is the centre of the ball, of the flower. I've just put a little bit of ink on there, just a little bit of normal ink. Dusted it on just around the top, like so, yeah. And when you look at this, I love the fact that we've got the crepe and it's got all these creases and marks in, which adds to the effect of it being a realistic flower. Then what we're going to do is we need to take a piece of paper, crepe. I've just cut a length, and I've folded it in half and folded it in half again. Now, the grain on this paper is running like that, okay? Yeah, so you can feel the grain of the paper. It's running that way. So if I was to pull this, it would stretch. You don't do it the other way where it's the non-stretch side. You do it the stretch side, okay? Then I've folded it again, and then I've come in with my scissors and I've cut little snips into it, okay? Like so. I'm not cutting right to the end, okay? And just keep going along. And this is fringing, okay? Now, if you've got the dies, you can absolutely do that, but I just thought I'd show you a new technique. So cut all the way along. You end up with this, and then we're going to open it up like so, and we end up with this long strip. Now, I like to either use a baby wipe or I'll wet my fingers, and we're going to hold on to the piece that's still intact and just roll your fingers backwards and forwards like so, okay? So this is now the actual fringing itself. So we're twisting all of these little pieces and we keep going along. If you come across one that's a little bit wide like that, take your scissors and just snip into it, okay? Everything is fixable with something like this unless it's all falling apart, but usually even then with glue we can fix when we're making flowers. So all the way along, just doing that little forwards, backwards, and I've got my fringe, okay? Once we've got to that point, we now need to attach it to our centre. Now I've inked this already, okay? And I'm going to get my glue again, and across here I'm just going to run the glue. But if it jumps about and it doesn't catch everywhere, I'm not so bothered, because when I start putting this on here, the way I fix it on, my fingers run along the edge of here that actually wipe the glue along. And I'll show you that in a second when we get to it. So I'm going all the way along. So now we're creating the stamen for the centre. So we need the ball, okay? And I always work this upside down, okay? So now I'm going to place this on here, like so, and make sure that that's stuck in place. And as you can see, I've just gently pulled on that. But as I'm going along, my fingers here are spreading the glue underneath. So it doesn't matter that I wasn't perfect with that glue. And we're going all the way around until we come back and meet ourselves where we started. And then we're going to overlap that and just keep going, okay? So as I'm doing this, I'm gently stretching the crepe, running along. My fingers underneath are spreading the glue. Doesn't matter that's torn. Put that back on there. Okay. Andrew's just given me a very good question. He's just asked, if I was doing multiple flowers, would I do all the centres first? Yes, I would. I'd do all the wraps. I'd do all of the centres, so how I would batch build, really. I'd get to the point where I'd got everything like this, the middles all done. I'd have all my petals cut. So that's that, okay, so that's the middle. And then I get my ink pad. So now we're creating this green here on the edge. And I literally just hold on to it. And I use it like a paintbrush. Okay, rotate it round a little bit. Go again. And again. I'm not pushing it in and scrubbing it around. I'm literally just touching the top of that pad with those stamen that I've made. And that creates the middle, okay? And because we've already put that little bit of ink on the inside edge, that just shows through. So that is that piece. So I would then have all of my pieces already wrapped and ready and raring to go. And I would have all of the other pieces, all of my petals laid out. So I'm going to do that again because I do want another one, okay? So super simple. Bead of glue all the way across, like so. And then if you want smaller ones of these, you just use the smaller polystyrene balls. So we've got, I know we've got the 3 centimetres, we've got the 2 centimetres, and we've got the 1.5, okay? The 1.5 are really, they are a bit small. But we do, if you look at the actual petals of the collection, which I'll bring in a second, we've got some super tiny petals that you could still do this with all of those. So again, I'm overlapping, I'm wrapping at the same, going all the way around, stretching it, just a gentle pull, stretch that like that. And then my finger underneath is the one that's spreading the glue. Okay. If it rips, it doesn't matter. There we go. And then secure that down. So let me just show you the dies. This is what I meant. Look at these teeny weeny petals that we've got here. So even with the tiny 1.5 centimetre balls that we've got, you would still be able to use these teeny, tiny, small ones. So again, I've done that. And I just want to go like so. Yeah, oops. I'm happy with that. Okay. And then I've got the others. And these are going to be like kind of a bud in the background. And all will become clear. So pop a little bit more ink on that one. On this one. So they're the ones done. Now in these 3 bags, I've got those 3 size petals that I showed you at the beginning. So I have got the large one, the next one, so I've got 1, 2 and 3, and I've got 6 of each in here. Now what you need to do to actually create the shape is when you've cut your petals, you need to do some pleating. So this is the top of the petal, this is the edge at the petal, and this is the base. This is where we're going to glue it and attach it to the flower. Here we do some pleating like that. So I'm pleating all of that up like so, pinching like so, and then giving that a twist. And that's what we end up with. That's what I've got in the bags, okay? Let's do that again. So I've pleated, and again, and I'm not doing it across the edge, I'm doing it so far down, okay? It gives me that little bunch there, and then give it a twist, and that is what I end up with, okay? So then, I'll get all of these out. We then want to, it doesn't matter that it's all folded and etc., but we need to just open it up slightly, okay? So I'm not pulling this and opening it all up, okay? And then I'm putting my thumb and finger just below where we've done the twist, and we're going to do the cup, which is to stretch that petal like so, okay? So that's stretched, okay? So I'm not undoing it, I'm just doing the cup and stretching it, okay? I'm not unraveling this edge at all. And what I mean by unraveling is, I mean, I'm not going like this, straightening it out like that, and then doing the cupping, okay? That's not what you need to do. You need to leave it as it is and just cup the petal. Whoops. Like so, okay? And that way you get a more natural edge to the petal, okay? And you do that with all of them. So I've done all the twisting. I've cupped all up to there, that's one size. And keep them in size order, because it's very easy when you start doing this and you've cut them all to lose which size is which. Okay. And then you'll end up with odd looking flowers, because you'll end up with different petals in different rounds, okay? So we're creating 3 rounds of 6. Sounds like knitting or crochet when I say it like that. So we're doing 3 rounds of 6 petals to make this beautiful peony. And like I say, as you can see, I'm not unfurling that front edge, okay, which is the top of the petal. And the bigger the petal, the more cup you have to pull, okay, because the petals are much bigger. So be brave. Don't be only doing this little bit. Be brave and stretch it right across, okay, all the way across, like so, and then again, okay, all the way across. So be brave with these. And then we can start building. Now I'm going to take this one first. I'm going to start with these 6. So we're starting with our first petals. Once you start actually building, it comes together very quickly. So a little bit of hot glue, and I tend to spread it out with the nose of my gun, like so, okay? And then where you've got that paper, that is where your first lot are going to go, okay? Your first petals. Just that little bit further down than the paper. Just checking my glue gun is still switched on. And then the next one. And again, like I say, I like to do this. I put the glue on, spread it out with the tip of the hot glue, because then I'm not getting my fingers in that hot glue. Overlap, but we're still placing it in the same place along that edge of that first frill that we've done the stamen in the middle. Like so. Again. Once I've done this row and you can see how it's building, I'll speed up a little bit because you don't really, like so. Can you see how we're doing the overlap as well? And again, I'm keeping my fingers out of that hot glue. And then this one. So that's our first round. But that is the first round when I turn it round and show you. So place that last one on. It's overlapped, all of them. Just going to pinch that down so it's secure. That first one, that is now your small flower. So that could be a bud, okay? Which is super quick, super easy to build. Now I'm going on to, so Andrew asked earlier about would I build so many of these in one go? And this is why I would do so many centres, and then I'd have a tub with all my small, medium and large flowers separated out. And then I would just go in and build. Now what I'm doing now is I'm overlapping where there's a gap, okay? So those two flowers come together, that petal goes on. Those two flowers come together, that petal, like you build in a wall. So as you see brickwork in a wall. So I've got my two petals, they overlap. I'm overlapping again, but this time I'm a little bit further down on that ball. Okay, again, overlap the previous two, and I'm overlapping the one that was already there anyway. And this is how we create that really full flower. Now, I know in some certain, crepe papers differ drastically, okay? And I mean, really drastically. Now, the crepe paper that I work with is like a medium to heavy weight. It's more of a medium weight. And it's beautiful because it's got this fabulous 180% stretch. Now, if I hadn't got that 180% stretch, I absolutely could not do that. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that full flower without it being so good a crepe paper. So let's put the final layer on. And then I want to show you the project. So again, two petals, overlap, and I'm coming down a tiny little bit, okay? So now let me just get all of these on. Like that. And I'm not even really looking at the top because I know I've got these spaced evenly around the base and I know I'm overlapping. So let's have a look. Quite happy, I've got them overlapped. Again, like this. Thought I was one missing. That one goes on right there. And then that sits on there. And again, look at that. So what I'm going to do now is when I turn that over, I'm going to put my thumb on that polystyrene ball in the middle, almost as if you would hold a wine glass, okay? My fingers are underneath and I'm just going to secure all of those petals to that ball and then open up the actual stamen in the middle like this. And that is a fabulous flower. Isn't that stunning? Now, again, if you wanted to, I've left mine cream, but you could go around with your ink on your brush and just literally lightly brush the edges just to pick up that really gentle hue of green that then mirrors the middle of the flower. So that is actually building, that's the basis of building the flower. So then I've got these three absolutely incredible blooms. I've got these two, which are more of a bud, and then I'm just going to put a couple of petals on one of the buds, just as if it's just blooming and opening. You know, like we did that first one at the beginning. Well, that's that one. Why it's always good to have plenty of spares. So again, pleating, twisting, and then cup the petal, because I feel like we need a little bud in this. Oops. Pleat, twist, cup. And again, doing this, I'm going to make an entirely different flower here for us, really. So I'm only using a few of them. And then we're going to build this project. And like I say, let me know in the comments if, because I feel making an actual project kind of finishes it off rather than just having single flowers on there. And then the final one. Now, I've seen this project several times on a particular social media site, and I've loved it. Every time I've seen it, I've thought that is beautiful. But every time I've seen it done with real flowers. And I thought, you know what, we have all these beautiful dies, we make fabulous flowers, and I think it would work doing this as well. So, leaving my hot glue, I've got 3 beautiful blooms, two that are really quite open. Okay, and look, I can actually be really quite brutal with these, and then one that's a little bit more closer. I've got the one that I've just made that's more of a just opening bud, and then I've got the 2 that are properly buds. We'll see how far we get to how we use all of this. And then I've got some of my leaves. Now, we all know what these are and where they've come from, and I save mine every time I go anywhere, and my kids do now for me, because we don't use them, but we do keep them and save them. So I've got some that I've already taken out of my packaging, and obviously you could actually, if you wanted to do this, just buy them, but I thought it was a nice way of actually doing a bit of recycling as well. And I am going to chop them all down. But here, I've got a hurricane vase. Okay, lovely vase. It was a present that somebody gave me, and I use it regularly. It is fabulous. But I've also got some elastic bands. So I'm going to slide the elastic bands down here. Okay, I think I'm going to put, so I might need another one yet, but we'll see. Okay, like so. Okay, and then my straws, I'll cut all these down. I'm not bothered if they're quite in half or fully in half. Like this. And then these are going to tuck in here, like so. And then the next one, I'm going to have them all lined up. If I turn that round, I can now show you, because I can do this from this side, like so. I'll just get them all tucked in, and then I'll arrange them how I want them. Don't quite know how many I'm going to need just yet, but we'll go with what we've got. Like so. And I'm going to cover all these workings up by putting a beautiful big ribbon on. So even if these aren't even and all equal, it doesn't really matter, because I only want them where I'm actually going to put the florals and the leaves. So, and if I don't use them all, again, it doesn't matter, because nobody's going to see the workings. Okay, so they're all like so, okay? Yeah, and now we can put in our flowers and arrange them where we want them to be. So I've now got some floristry wire. Now, this again, everything, all of it is on highlightcrafts.com. So I'm going to cut myself a little strip of floristry wire. Not the best straight cut in the world, but I don't particularly mind. And again, using wet glue, what I need to do is I want to attach one to the other. Now, you can do this with floristry tape. Okay, so put my wire onto here. I'm going to wrap. So this is now wrapping. Okay, push that up. And then bring this all the way down. And because I've got glue on here, and our floristry wires are brilliant because they are paper. So it means the paper crepe sticks to the paper wire beautifully, okay? And then it's not going to come unstuck either, which again is just fabulous, because there are lots of times when you're using floristry tape and floristry and wires that if your wires aren't paper wrapped, and we always buy paper wrapped, they end up kind of coming away from each other. Because the floristry tape that you buy has got a wax coating, so the wax doesn't like the plastic coated, the less professional wires, and also the paper wrapped ones are just a lot nicer to work with, so much nicer to work with. So I've elongated that wire because I actually want it above, but I'm going to just bend the wire like so. So I want to sit it here. So now I've got more of an idea of where that needs to be. Snip away. That is going to slide in behind in that tube, like so. I can take it a little bit further down. Now in the copper behind you can see this copper, they're lights, okay, so I've put some lights in there. Then I'm going to get my others, and again, bend at the base, like so. And this one, bend again, okay? And I just need to turn it so I can just have a quick see where these are going. That one can go in there, which is the one that's this one. So that one I can actually push further up, like so. And then I can actually glue them in place as well, of where they're going to sit. Okay, so now we've got that on our vase, okay. So then I'm going to use my hot glue gun and put a little bit of glue and actually stick the wire to those straws. Just only one or two of them. I don't need to do all of them, just so they're secure. Like so. And then remember, we've got all the leaves as well. So now the leaves can fit into the tubes. Let me put the big ones in. Okay, and we've got shape in these as well. Let's see if I can work. I'm going to work backwards. And see, because I'm looking this way. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Andrew. So I'm working back to front to everybody else. There we go. I'm going to have some not that one. Pop that in there, but bend it a bit more, I think. There we go. Have I got any more left? I can't quite see on the table. I've got 2. So I want one over here, like so. And I'm going to put one in there with that one, like that. Quite happy with that. And then I'm going to take some ribbon. And all those workings we're going to cover up. And you can move these further up the actual bowl if you wanted to, so they were higher. Okay, I'm going to turn that round. So tie a knot in there like so. I want to hide all of those workings. Slide that round a little bit more. Just make sure I've got everything covered at the back. I'm quite happy with how it's looking as well, because I want it to look nice, just as nice round all the sides. And then using my bow maker, which is one of my favourite tools ever. Let's just quickly show you how to make a bow. So I'm going to capture the tail in there like so. You go across the front and down a slot. You come up the same slot on the other side. That's all you've got to remember. And I'm going to do a double wrap. So I'm going again, like so, and then cut that away. And then you go down the hole, up through the middle, like this. I like to gather all of the ribbon together. Okay, so just make sure it's all in place. And I pinch the middle, okay? So I gather it all together and give it a pinch. And then give it a really good tug. Whoops. So I've tightened all that on. And then I don't actually want all of these tails, so I'm going to trim this back. Slide that off. Open up and fluff the bow, which is just lovely. When you're working with a ribbon that's wired, this really does make quite a difference. My hands aren't working properly today. A little bit of glue on the back, and then the bow is going to sit. I will turn it round in just a second. I just need to see that I've put that in the right place. Secure that like so. I'm going to trim the tails. Get rid of all that rubbish. And that is our beautiful florals with the lights inside. What do you think about that? Aren't they stunning? So that is our beautiful peonies made from our all day, everyday flowers. I hope you've enjoyed, and it's the Festival of Flowers collection, sorry, yes. We've got super code So we have got that lovely 50%. So you've got all day 50 to use, and it's on all individuals. So if you only want this particular die set, you get the 50% off this. Or if you want the whole collection you see on the screen, you get 50% off of that. So it's a full win-win all around for all of you. I hope you've really enjoyed joining me for this flower class. I want to see all your makes, and we'll see you all again in the new year. You take care. Bye.
If you want to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications of all of our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.